things aren't as easy as they used to be. You know, in my 20s, I used to be able to go to the gym 3-4 times a week, go rock climbing after work, play a couple gigs on the weekends. But now in my 30s, I'm looking for more interesting ways to involve the whole family in getting some exercise together, and that's very, very difficult. The older you get, it seems like the shorter you are on time. And it was kind of a no-brainer, to be honest. Right near me, there's a path that goes right by our house, which they call the Rails to Trails project. And I think the rail trails are sort of nationwide, if I'm not mistaken. But in Connecticut alone, they've converted over 221 miles of railroad track to these nice paved paths where you can walk or rollerblade or bike. And, you know, we've definitely gone on walks down there, but now that my kids are getting a little older, they want something that's more exciting. So my 4-year-old gets on her bike, and even with the training wheels, she rockets down there without a problem. So I figured, let's get out on the bikes together. We can go some places. We can actually take these trails to some place and get breakfast or lunch, and then ride back. It's a no-brainer. Of course, when I took out my old bike, it had seen better days. So I began researching a new ride. And this has changed a lot since the last time I looked at bicycles. Back in my day, there were like 3 types of bicycles: mountain bikes, 10 speeds, and BMX bikes. Maybe unicycles if you live in Portland. But now there are far, far more commuter bikes, hybrid bikes, fat bikes, electric bikes, all kinds of different bikes which offer different components of each to suit your ride. My needs are relatively simple. I need a low-maintenance bike that can handle a variety of terrain in relative comfort and safety. I also kind of wanted to get something from a smaller company since I like the idea of supporting small businesses. All I want is everything. Is that too much to ask? Before long, it had narrowed down to a few companies based on recommendations and my own research, but there was one that really stood out, and that's the Priority 600. It had this trick gearbox, hydraulic disc brakes, and everything that I had on my must-have list, plus some that I hadn't even considered, like a USB charger. The problem is that a bike with all these features doesn't come cheap. And at $2,300, the 600 was no different. Now, I'm no stranger to the concept of diminishing return or the value of price per use. The more you use something, the better value it is in the end. But if that item breaks or wears out prematurely, then you have to buy another one. The value proposition, it just isn't a good one. And the 600 checked off all the boxes for actually less than the other options that I was considering. Plus, it has that cool pinion gearbox, which I had begun to really covet. So a totally sealed, practically maintenance-free, no finicky deraillers or anything, and you can shift it at a dead stop. Count me in. You know, while only a few weeks prior, I was gonna happily go ahead and ride my old Mongoose bike, but now I'm a snob who requires hydraulic disc brakes and exotic transmissions. Well, you know what happened. I got the Priority 600 and hid the evidence from my wife. It really had been a long time since I paid attention to bicycles.
All right, now just for an example, here are the rotors that are going on my 1965 Mustang project, drilled and slotted, meant to dissipate heat. The same thing can be found on the Priority 600, which is really cool. And these things, I was always used to the ones that clamp on the rim of the actual tire itself. These things slow you down real quick. As a matter of fact, you kind of have to be careful because you may go right over the handlebars if you're not careful. But, there's also more automotive inspiration in that, like the belt drive that's over here on my Harley, same kind of thing with the Gates belt drive on a smaller scale on the Priority 600. So it's like automotive inspiration is infused in this bike. And then, of course, there's that transmission.
I don't have a lot of experience to draw upon, nor are my needs that of a racer, but this gearbox is amazing. One little twist and you're in another gear. It's really like the difference between a stick shift and a dual clutch paddle shift. The immediate change in gears means that I don't tend to lose momentum up a hill or that extra speed from a downhill slope, and it's honestly better than I expected. For a newbie like me, it's simple enough to just hop on and ride without a tutorial. This comes in really handy when towing a little weight too, like with my 2-year-old in a trailer behind me. I can stop and start without a worry. In fact, I hardly know he's back there most of the time. Is he back there? Something I had originally considered was whether or not I needed suspension. A lifetime of manual labor has led to some back issues, and I'm not as resilient as I used to be, but the problem seems to be that suspension adds weight and cost. Plus, for my type of riding on flat, paved surfaces, it just didn't seem necessary, and these tires actually have a nice amount of give, so I haven't found myself wanting for anything else. In the end, I just wanted a bike that was user-friendly and well-made. Something that could grow with me and my family. Another thing I've come to love is that awesome Gates belt drive. Now, it's basically maintenance-free. It doesn't get grease and all kinds of crap on my pant leg, and it's totally silent. When you're riding along with this thing, it's just all you hear is the whir of the tires against the pavement and the breeze going by your ears. It's really nice. In the end, all I really wanted was a bike that would be hassle-free, that I could just hop on and ride at a moment's notice and not have to fidget with. I mean, I love wrenching on cars, but I really don't want to add bicycles to the list, especially when it comes down to, let's go guys, let's go ride. Oh, hang on a second, I have to adjust this or that. I wanted it to be basically just push and go. That's what I wanted. And that's what the Priority 600 does. As a matter of fact, I mean, I really was so impressed with this model that I began to look at their other models for my wife and for my kids when they get a little older and ready to ride on their own, because I really dig the company and sort of their whole mantra. They filled a niche, which I think is really interesting. And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to seeing how this bicycle grows with me and my abilities to push my butt up the hill, and with my family as well, because I think that with the build quality that I see here, how easy it is to ride, how low maintenance it is, it's gonna be with us for a long time. So you may see it quite a bit in the future. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Catch you next time.